thunderclap. We berserking? Okay, now. Alright, we'll get a 5-0 von Hennig against the National Master. That'll be fun. Let's go. Lots of time, strong opponent. Let's see what they come up with. So we got the von Hennig, and they'll lock their bishop in. They play e6, locking that light square bishop in. No bishop f5 or bishop g4 lines, which we can investigate after, but hopefully we'll be able to make them pay dearly for not using that piece. Let's play here with queen e1, so that if they castle short, we'll have this strong attack on h7 waiting for them. Otherwise, if they try to keep their king in the center or go long, hopefully we'll be ready. They're already asking for bishop takes e6. They're asking for it. Takes, queen takes, g7. They're really, this is crazy how much they're asking for it. Takes, queen takes, king d8, I have knight g5. This is not obvious to refute at all. Somehow this is already very interesting. Takes, takes, queen takes, bishop e7. If I played there rook e1, queen d8, knight g5, rook f8, knight h7, takes, queen g6, rook f7, and queen takes h7 at minimum. Things I already like my position a lot right now, so I gotta be sure about this, but I kind of like it. So let's go for this. Bishop takes e6. I mean, queen d6 is just so out of the game. Like, my instinct is to just play king h1 in that situation. But, alright, we'll see what they come up with, king d8 or bishop e7. So with the queen, if they had the queen here, I mean, they could have some defense. But otherwise, we'll see what they got here. So king d8, so they go for the bishop e7 line. Okay, so rook e1, threatening this. If I don't do anything, the issue is then, like, knight f8, maybe. Some knight move, they could free themselves. Knight g5 is appealing as well. I think bishop f4 is another good option. I think we're going to stick with this rook e1 resource, which forces queen d8. Queen b4 is the only thing else. I would just play a3. There's no queen d6, I can take it with the pin. Knight is also staying here, keeping a watchful eye on this resource, so queen has to come back to d8. Knight on d6 if it's bug house. It's checkmate. The thing I was calculating initially was this move knight g5, so that threatens queen f7 here. I think that's one of a few good moves. I think we'll go for this. And in my initial calculations with rook f8, I was talking about this move knight takes h7. Yeah, so way back, I was talking about knight takes h7. Knight takes, and then queen g6 check. Rook f7, takes h7. So that's possible. I think the other thing, though, is if I can play knight e4 and just sneak one into d6. So knight e4, takes, knight moves, knight d6, that would just win. And if they play rook f6, no, they won't have rook f6. This could just end the game. This could just end the game with knight e4, which is kind of funny because I'm playing without these pieces a little bit. Okay, knight e4. And if we can just land a knight there, then we'll smother them. We force queen d8, we force rook f8. So now, just a knight on d6, and the king is out of squares. So hopefully we've done this right. Yeah, here comes a knight coming to d6, guys. What are you going to do about that? You can take it once. Now knight takes e4. This is the first time they're thinking. And I think they should have come up with some other defensive resource, because now this might be too late. Takes. Yeah, any knight move. Any knight move, and I will have knight d6 check. Even though my queen would be hanging. Queen takes d6, queen takes, pin. So they must play rook f6 to create a square for their king. Like, the rook can't go anywhere else. If it comes back, check and mate. So rook f6, queen g8. Yeah, so rook f6, knight t6, king f8. I don't have anything. So rook f6, I'll play queen g8. If they come back rook f8, then knight t6 would be smothered mate again. So rook f6, queen g8, knight f8, forced. After which I have a number of options, including just grabbing the rook. Such others include like bishop g5. But yeah, I think best I will just grab the rook, play bishop h6, and I think we're winning. So rook f6 only move here that doesn't lose the queen. Because yeah, knight t6 is smothering this poor king. That they have so many pieces, but they're taking away squares for their king. And this is the only move. I mean, any other rook move along this file, in theory, would work, because knight d6 and the rook could guard that square, but there's no squares. Rook f7 gets you mated fast. Queen c7? Oh, wait, queen c7 is an option. No, it's not an option. Queen c7, I have check, and if they take it, they lose their queen, and otherwise, I would take the bishop. So rook f6, only move, as we were talking about. They play it. Queen g8, check, was what we were talking about. Because knight d6, king f8, they survive. So rook f8, I have knight d6, which is a gorgeous smothered mate. Otherwise, knight f8, only move. And then we'll just get rid of that rook. We'll just clip him right off. And this is turning into a really nice attacking game. I think just bishop h6 makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of moves here make a lot of sense, but bishop h6 is one of them. Finally, we're using that piece. Queen takes d4. I really do not care. I'll just go king h1, and I want to play queen takes f8 with this pin. So that really leaves you with just king d7, but that loses as well, because I have rook takes e7, king takes, bishop takes f8, queen takes f8, and rook to e1. Yes, as I was saying. So rook takes e... I mean, a lot of things are good here. d5, I'm sure, is also winning. Just bring the other rook in, and cleaning house like that might even be more effective, because this... they could play queen takes and just limit the damage to 2 pieces for a rook. So could be more appealing to do it that way. Although both options are winning. d5 takes... Yeah, I think it might be better to play this here with d5. Just trying to open everything onto them. I give them some checking resources. Yeah, rook takes e7 was what I was talking about. King takes would lose to bishop takes and rook e1 check, which would detether the king to the queen's defense. But they would play queen takes e7, takes in queen e3 check, king h1. I think that's still probably bordering on resignable. But so here they play this with bishop c5, which I think is a good resource. I could play your bishop e3, but I think just king h1 is best. Yeah, I mean, the issue black has is that they're unable to use these pieces. Just completely unable to. Flight square bishop is a net negative on their position because it keeps the rook out of the game. So, among a couple options here, I like take c6, and just rook d1, just bring the last piece into the game, very simply. Perhaps rook d1 first was better, because now they don't actually have to recapture here. They can make some bishop move, perhaps. But that's pretty rough, actually, if that's what it comes to. I will still play rook d1. I don't think that really helps them much. Regardless, we're both getting kind of low on time. But yeah, pawn takes c6, rook d1, I mean, it's like hard to find a square for this poor queen. Queen d6, oh sorry, bishop d6. So they play king takes, trying to keep some options this way, or just have bishop d7 as an option. But yeah, I have here queen d5 check, which would force king d6. And b4 looks strong. I think this is simplest, takes, and I can eliminate that bishop and just stay up some material. And yeah, now we're just up in exchange. Let's just not get mated. probably checkmate. Oh, okay. GG. GG. Yeah, let's have a look at that. That was pretty interesting against National Master defending in, well, it was a Von Hennig. It was a very good, nice Gambit classes victory, and I think that was a pretty good attack in general. It was Von Hennig, but they played e6, so it wasn't like our sharp Von Hennig lines with bishop f5, which I'll get to in the game. And they didn't castle. Instead, we just played this bishop takes e6 sacrifice, which I'm very interested to see if that was sound at all. So let's have a look. So we had a Caro Kann. Thank you. We had a Caro Kann here, knight c3, takes e4, and bishop c4. So this is the Von Hennig Gambit. Immediately after takes, we're taking advantage of this diagonal. And the point is, so knight f6, they protect this pawn, we play f3, takes. And e6 my opponent played, which is already a concession. And you can see the engine already doesn't like it, because it locks this light square bishop out of the game. What black should do is this move bishop to f5. So now if they're able to consolidate and play this with e6, and like bishop e7 and castles, if they're able to get that, then with this light square bishop protecting this diagonal, they should really just be up a pawn. So what we have to do here is these sharp lines with knight g5, trying to play rook takes f5 and knight takes f7, with threats like that, right? So here black needs to play bishop g6 to keep that on the board and out of the way of this, but then there's this bishop takes e6 sacrifice, which I've covered on my channel. I'll link that below. And this is black playing in the absolute best way. They still have to deal with what is a really, really strong sacrifice here, and this knight in their face that they can't really take because of this issue of them losing their queen. So lots and lots of fun lines. And if bishop to g4 to get this bishop out, then there's this nice move knight e5 where we're threatening the bishop and checkmate. So if they take here, they get checkmated. So knight e5 here and white is already much better. So my opponent played e6, just accepting to shut this light square bishop out of the game. So there's no hits on the light square bishop, but it does hand me this important diagonal. So if black here just decides to play bishop e7 and castle, then I have taken this diagonal. They didn't get a chance to play bishop f5. And what will happen in a line like this, so let's say they, I don't know, just try to develop, is that I will put a lot of pressure on f6. So here my threat is just like eliminating this knight and trying to checkmate right there, right? So, and if they play h6 to deal with that threat, then I have both diagonals covered here. I will play bishop takes h6 and checkmate like this. And if they play g6, then very often there's a lot of weaknesses this way now. So like knight takes d7, for example, it's this knight in this position. No knight takes because that would fall. And if queen takes, this falls. So like just a ton of pressure here as a result of playing this f3 move early on. As a result of playing this f3 move, we put our bishop here so that it fights against this light square bishop development. And now with this f3 move, we open this file. We have this queen e1, queen h4 maneuver with no f2 pawn in the way. So a lot of fun ideas. In this game in particular, my opponent played queen b6, which is just kind of a strange move, and now gives me an interesting opportunity all of a sudden. So the engine doesn't like it, and bishop takes e6 is indeed correct. Plus 1.1 with bishop takes e6. So yeah, actually, you wrote this line as an infinite elo glitch. I am actually quite curious. What is my win rate in this position? So, wow. So after bishop c4 here, I don't know if you guys can see, I have an 82% win rate. I don't know what, so that's not bad. And even in the engine recommendation line, yeah, like the numbers are pretty high across the board out of lots of games. So I have a lot of fun games in this line against really all levels of competition. And so my opponent played here queen b6, which is just a very strange move. So my instinct was just play king h1, which is in any way useful, and just kind of gets out of the way of this. But I have this interesting opportunity. They haven't really developed their pieces. They've brought their queen out of the game. I have this interesting opportunity to play bishop takes e6, and it was correct. Plus 1.1 already out of the opening for white. Takes queen takes e6. And so now my opponent has two moves, king d8 and bishop e7. I guess the issue with king d8 was I was going to play this move knight g5. And knight f7 looks pretty unstoppable. The king cannot hide here because this check looks bad. Queen takes d4 does not help at all with bishop e3 coming. And for example, if you go here, you lose your queen, not just your rook. So I think with knight g5, I think that was going to be right. Yeah, it was right. And here, yeah, it looks like black is going to be losing the rook. And remember, they're only up, or they're up a piece for a pawn, but still, they can't afford to just like straight up lose a rook. So I think this is quite clear. So bishop e7 keeps their extra material on the board. And if I do something slow, like I just come bishop out or whatever, you'll note that just jumped up to from +1 to -2.4. Black plays knight f8, forces my queen back, and now with bishop d7, they can probably, you know, try to escape castles this way. Or knight e6 is best to shield this. So we got to be quick, and so that's why rook e1 here is played, attacking the bishop. Queen d8, only move to guard this poor bishop. Now knight g5, threatening queen f7. And it says here that they should have just actually allowed this, but you can see how ugly that might be. At minimum, I can take this, bishop comes to f4, rook comes to d1, probably want to play things like d5, and black is up a piece, but they're really not playing with it, with the king on d7 very awkwardly, boxing everything in. So rook f8 was played here, stopping queen f7, which makes a lot of sense, but it was played very, very quickly. My opponent has spent just like a minute on the clock, but they're already in a +4 position. So knight e4, takes, and now this brilliant smothered mate threat is on the way, and it's very, very difficult for black to do anything about that. They can move the knight to attack here and defend that way, but knight d6 check, and I would just win the queen in this line thanks to this pin. So there's really nothing they can do. Queen c7, I can again play knight d6, and queen takes e7 coming, or queen takes d6. So winning in all cases there. So yeah, their only move, as we talked about, was rook up. So something that would allow king f8, and actually here black is up a piece. So, you know, if we mess up the attack, they're up a piece. And I could take it right away, but then knight takes f6, and they're actually all right. They have 2 pieces for the rook here. I have no queen g8 because of the knight, and all black's pieces can maybe... Okay, so like they can slide the king out the way, and maybe they're okay. So it's important to include this move here, queen g8. It's very, very important to be precise in all these lines. So any bishop move, and we have this brilliant mate here with double check. So, and rook f8, similarly, that is checkmate, another nice one. So knight f8 is that leaves that as the only option. But now after takes, yes, they have 2 pieces for the rook, but okay, number 1, we have a pawn. Number 2, all their pieces suck. So they have 2 developed pieces, and they're both pinned. And this is just going to be very, very ugly for them. We can also start with this nice with bishop h6. They can take this, but after king h1, yeah, these pins look very, very bad. King is in a very, very rough situation, and black is losing material here. So king d7 was played to try and hang on to everything. Yeah, rook takes d7 was the best move. I was looking at this in the game. The point being, king takes, if you want to guard your knight, then I have takes f8 and rook to e1 check, which would pick up the queen. Okay, they have this move bishop e6 to orchestrate that defense, but yeah, this is a very, very bad situation for them regardless. So yeah, I was looking at queen takes e7 and queen e3 check, so in which case black, you know, doesn't really lose too much material, but yeah, it just kind of leaves them with 2 very, very poor pieces. Yeah, with the king on d7, it's really, really bad because it boxes in the bishop, which boxes in the rook, and so when we make all this activity happen, yeah, this rook would have been very, very helpful if it were able to guard. But can't go wrong with just d5, just trying to open things up here, especially for this last rook, just right onto their king. Very, very practical choice, I think. So bishop c5 check was played, king h1. Yeah, king c7 I guess was best, but yeah, there's really not a lot of places to hide. Probably king b6 was the maneuver the engine was looking for. So yeah, now with king h1, this rook is just going to come to d1 very naturally, which is what happened in the game. Takes e6, king takes back, rook d1, and here, yeah, with the engine already recommending queen takes d1, you know it's pretty bad here. I just went check and picked up some material, and you know, we just played the rest of this out in just a time scramble. Yeah, I did miss checkmate too, right? Which is queen c5, queen a5 here. So yeah, a very, very interesting game. Yeah, we took advantage of our opponent's mistakes from the very beginning here with queen b6. We saw an opportunity to strike at their king. Our king was safe, their king was not. And we took advantage of their poor development with this nice move, bishop takes e6 in the von Hennig. So yeah, I think nice game there against the National Master, and good scalp to add to the list of von Hennig scalps. And subscribe if that goes on YouTube. I hope you guys continue to have success with this line as well. All right, feeling good. We got, after that rough start, we won 4 in a row. We are right next to this other titled player, playing number 3 in the arena. I feel like we gotta keep berserking if we're gonna keep gaining ground, though. So, big game here. Oh my goodness, I need control of my mouse. Okay. You know what? I might just play on my touchpad. All right, we got a von Hennig Gambit. Got a von Hennig on the board. Is this smooth right now? Okay. Von Hennig Gambit is a very exciting line. After takes, we have we take advantage of this diagonal, and now This bishop needs to be careful where it develops. It does not develop at all here, which is an option, and potentially, you know, you're not going to lose immediately due to some nasty tricks. However, I'll switch back to my touchpad for smoother control. If you castle, I will go bishop to d3 and try to checkmate you on h7. So my opponent delays that. Understandable. Play king h1, which is useful in all cases. They might try to go for the long castle here. And clearly they are. Let's play here knight e5. Knight g5 is interesting. And I feel like, yeah, it has some interesting threats of taking f7 and eyeing e6 between these guys. I also would like to put my bishop on f4. What is the caveman variation? So we have this von Hennig accepted, but my opponent is trying to get that way with their king, which can be difficult because of how bad the bishop is when with that quick move pawn to e6. Oh, they're daring me. What? Knight takes f7? They're asking me to do it? Really? They're saying, please sacrifice your knight. And the knight is saying, please sacrifice me. That's what I hear when my pieces talk to me. They're all asking to be sacrificed. Okay. Let's do it. King e8 is the only way to not get checkmated immediately. And I wanted to hear bishop f4, targeting the queen, which is a useful move in all cases. Queen cannot go to d8, because that would take away their only square, and I would checkmate them. Before going queen f7, I will see what I can do on this pin. So let's use all our pieces. Let's probably put the rook here and the bishop on d6, and it feels like they'll just lose immediately. It feels like that sacrifice was actually just very good. The question is, what do you do if not that? Because I was threatening the sacrifice. Probably knight b6, so the bishop can guard this. After knight b6, I would probably go bishop f4, hitting the queen, and the queen would really have not many good options other than going back home, and my pieces would continue to be quite good. So queen a5 here, and probably just bishop d6 with the KO. I gotta be a little bit careful. If I go rook e1, there's this move knight e5, after which I could just take the knight, but I think this is the most effective. Hitting here with devastating force. Queen d8, queen f7 is mate. Knight should move to defend this somehow, but your options are quite limited. Knight d5, I will just take it. Not helpful. What else do you do? Knight g8? Honestly, like what else is not mate in one? Knight g8? Okay. It's not mate in one. I'll give you that. I should probably bring this rook in, or unless I should trade here, and then maybe rook f7. I can use that resource and then rook f7. I can also play rook f5 right now. So let's think here. Rook f7. The thing is, it opens one more door for them, which is queen g5. Okay, I'm going to play this move, rook to f5, to take away queen g5 as an option. If any counter threats on my queen right now, then I will just go queen f7 check and then take their queen. Playing here, rook f5. I want to take away queen g5. Then my last rook should seal the deal, hitting that bishop. Is the plan. I think that should be good. I gotta be careful. I don't want to allow them to untangle themselves at all. I mean, they could play here queen takes f5, but they'll just lose. Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure that was their best choice, according to like the engine, for instance. I'm sure they really had no other option here. So check. I can now, or sorry, it's not check, but I can play check to save my bishop. If they took it though, I think they were still lost, and this was me. So yeah, I mean, but bishop takes d6 here. I was just gonna go rook e1, swing everybody in. We're looking good. Yeah, I think takes e7 and rook e1 was also quite brutal, but I just didn't want to allow any untangling. Okay, I'm moving the mouse right now. It's looking better. Switch you on, off, switch you back on. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was a nice attack with the Von Hennig. That was a pretty nice attack. I mean, I think that was pretty devastating. I mean, they were trying to castle long, but the thing is, when you try to castle long, yeah, out of that, and you're not castling short quickly, you castle short quickly. I have that idea where I take that diagonal and I play queen h4, right? You try to castle long, it takes a lot of moves. Like your bishop's very poor on c8, and so you're in the center, which is the most dangerous place to be. And so I'm gonna try and get you there for as long as I can.